Xbox Game Pass continues to be phenomenal. We're going to go over the list of games coming out between now and the end of June, or at least what we know between now and the end of June, because there's a showcase coming up. The list is actually pretty crazy. Hellblade 2, we know, is coming out now for the PlayStation 5, which just triggered a physical release for this game. So, I mean, if you've been looking for that, that is a good thing. Gears of War Reloaded may be coming out with a beta before its official release. And PlayStation has actually a nice string of great news. Rumors right now, but if any of this comes true, it is good stuff here for gamers. So we'll get into all of that. But before we continue, if you do enjoy gaming news every day, staying up to date on some of the biggest stories in the industry, make sure to hit the subscribe, share, like the video, all of that stuff. I see many of you who do watch are not subscribed, so I would be really appreciative if you did hit that subscribe button. But for now, let's jump into it. So Xbox Game Pass has been insane this year. Probably the best year ever. This may be going down as one of the best years ever in Xbox history, just because of the sheer amount of content that we have been getting consistently, and the content has been great. And we're coming up to the Xbox showcase in just over a week or so here on June 8th, where we will be seeing ton of new content. And the funny thing is, we've already gotten announcements over these last week or so that you would think could have been held at the Xbox showcase. For example, the Xbox Retro Classics, the Space Marine remaster. Those are things you think that they would have added into the showcase, but they've given those announcements earlier. So you have to wonder, what is going to be at this showcase? Just how big is it going to be? What things that we don't know about are they going to show off? Are we going to see anything on hardware, handhelds, operating systems, all the stuff that potentially could be there, but still a lot of questions to be answered. But the other thing that we know we will see is Xbox Game Pass content on top of everything that we already have. But here is how strong this next upcoming month, and then to finish off May, is going to be. We have May 29th, Metaphor ReFantazio, which is a phenomenal game, one of the best games from last year, dropping into the service here. We all know the whole story about Metaphor ReFantazio with the marketing deal and how that went very well for Atlas. And Sega and Xbox have a very good relationship that they do continue to grow. It seems like a lot of their games are coming over to Xbox Game Pass, because the one that comes out after that is another Sega published game, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine, the Master Crafted Edition, which again, this one has a story behind it too, because as of right now, this hasn't been officially confirmed, I don't believe, but it is not on the PlayStation 5. Will this just be something that does release on the PlayStation 5 at a later date? Is this just a marketing deal between now and potentially the Xbox showcase? Who knows? But right now it is a Xbox console exclusive in a time where reality is there really isn't that many, because Xbox is putting all of their games everywhere on the PlayStation 5, and I think they're going to be putting a lot of their games onto the Nintendo Switch too. So kind of funny here that a third-party published game is an Xbox console exclusive. June 13th, The Alters is dropping, and this one looks very interesting, where you're playing in different versions of yourself and stuff. Kind of looks like a psychological thriller style of game, and we've seen, I think, a couple of previews on this, or people who have checked it out and said that it is looking pretty good. We have FBC Firebreak on June 17th, which is the game coming out here from Remedy, which is an online co-op game. And they've never really released anything like this, but I believe this is in the Control universe. Absolutely will be trying this one out, because they've done great stuff in the past. So I have a feeling that this one will be fun to play. Question is, will this hit and will it take off? With it being in Game Pass, there is a higher chance, because people instantly get to go in and jump in and play. Then we have June 17th, Lost in Random, The Eternal Dice. I've never played this game, but there is, I believe, another Lost in Random game on Xbox Game Pass. And then June 19th, Rematch, which is a soccer game that comes from Slow Clap, which are the people that made Sifu. And they've had betas and stuff for this game already. People have been playing it, and it seems like this is going to be one that is going to go viral. I just have that feeling with this one, because we've seen clips. People are very excited about it. They really enjoy it. They think that they've kind of hit it out of the park here with this arcade style of soccer game, multiplayer, all that stuff. Looks very cool. I'm excited to play Rematch. I'm going to be playing that one, I think, a decent amount. Looks like it will be a ton of fun. So as of right now, between now and June 19th, Game Pass isn't slowing down. It is phenomenal. And then we have to wait and see what gets announced at the Xbox June showcase on June 8th. Will there be more games coming in June? If not, I think we'll still be getting a lot of stuff here announced for the second half of this year. It's been a phenomenal year in gaming, so much to play that honestly, you're going to be playing a lot of these games way past 2025. That's much content has been coming out. So it's going to be great to just see what everything that does unravel between now and the end of the year. Hellblade 2, we know now, is coming to the PlayStation 5. Again, not really surprised about this one, especially with the direction that Xbox is going. And I don't think Hellblade 2 was that successful commercially. The first Hellblade was also on PlayStation 4, so there's already an established audience there on PlayStation that will be interested in playing this one. My biggest question with this game dropping on PS5 is, will it be as successful as the recent games that have dropped that we have seen, such as Forza Horizon 5 and Indiana Jones, which are topping the charts on PlayStation? If you've been waiting, however, for a physical version of Hellblade 2, it looks like it is now going to be happening for both Xbox and for the PlayStation 5 with limited run games, which I'm not a big fan of limited run games. Everyone goes to them now when we get these box versions of games. I wish there would be a different publisher out there, because of those shipping charges here for Canada just aren't very good, and things end up costing a lot from them. But we have Xbox and Ninja Theory, Senua Sega Hellblade 2 is finally getting a physical version coinciding with its upcoming PlayStation 5 port. They say here that now, following Hellblade 2's PS5 announcement last week, ratings board ESRB has listed a version of Senua Sega with physical games firm limited run games as publisher, with PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series listed as formats. And a second ESRB listing suggested Limited Run is planning a physical version of the original Hellblade game for the Nintendo Switch. This was something that, when Hellblade 2 did drop, it obviously wasn't a full price game, but there were people out there that wanted a physical version of this for their collection, and they didn't get it. They were upset about it. Now looks like it is going to be coming. So if you've been waiting for this, now is the time. There's going to be the people out there saying, well, why did they have to release it on the PS5 to get this to happen? But the reality is, Xbox, out of all three of the big players in the console game, Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, is by far the most digital. Like, they've gone and pushed digital first and foremost, more than PlayStation and Nintendo, although PlayStation is extremely digital now, and they're going to be moving away from physical, I think, completely anytime soon here. I mean, we've already seen that with the PS5 Pro not coming with a disc drive in it, and Nintendo Switch 2 is really pushing all digital now. And I think the Nintendo Switch 2 doing that kind of signaled the end of physical gaming as we know it. I mean, most of the games releasing on the Switch 2 are going to be those game key cards, which has nothing on the cartridge itself, at least from the third-party manufacturers. So there really is no point in ever picking up digital games going forward if that is going to be the case. So unfortunately, that is where we're going if you're a fan of physical games. I am a fan of physical games, although I have definitely adopted a big digital library here going forward, and will only try to pick up the physical versions of games that I want to have in my collection. But now I'm even more cognizant as to actually what is on the disc itself. If there's nothing on that, then I just don't even care anymore. It'll just simply be trying to find the stuff that does have content on it that I do want in my collection. And at that point, it's going to be becoming fewer and fewer games, which is a sad thing for people who do like having those games on their shelves. Gears of War Reloaded game is going to be coming out here. And this, to me, when they first announced it, I was hoping they would do a different Gears, or I was hoping they would even just do like the Marcus Phoenix collection that we've been hearing a lot about. But I will still absolutely play this again. I will still absolutely jump into the multiplayer for it. It looks like there's going to be a beta that is going to be happening ahead of the Xbox release here. This comes via Reddit, and it is now listed here as PenPL. This is what the beta is being posted as for the Gears of War Reloaded. This is from Neon Velocity here on Blue Sky, saying, I'm excited to be able to play the PenPL beta. And if you go through here, it has the Gears of War Reloaded logo and everything. And this is within the Steam database. Now, they do say here that the Steam database entry doesn't mention anything about a release date for the Gears beta, but we'd expect it to arrive pretty soon. So yes, with this game, I believe it launches in August for PS5, Xbox, and everything like that. So it should be coming relatively soon to get ahead of that release date. So I will be playing it. If they have a beta, hopefully it's an open beta where everybody can just jump in and check it out and just kind of see the advancements that the Gears of War Reloaded has created. And the Gears of War multiplayer is a ton of fun. And now the community for it is going to be even bigger as it is releasing on these multiple platforms. All right, let's jump over here. Let's talk PlayStation. There is actually a slew of very interesting and I'd say good PlayStation news here. First of all, we have seen this marketplace of consoles in terms of pricing just kind of get out of hand with the pricing of the PS5 Pro. Then you have the Nintendo Switch 2 come out, which people were kind of upset about. Then the worst of them all, I would say, was Xbox raising their prices on a console that is already not selling as much as the PlayStation 5, which signals to me that they may not care that much at all at actually selling these things by raising the prices and being ahead of the PS5 at raising the prices. Now, I do think the PS5 pricing will change. I thought they would go up, and it still may happen that way, but there is some information here that they are going to be actually announcing discounts on the PlayStation 5 for their days of play deals, which to me is a great thing. I mean, out of all the three manufacturers, they're the ones out here reducing their prices, which we have not seen, and that is a good thing. It says here that this is the list of days of play video game discounts. There's lots of discounts on the games itself, but there's also hardware discounts. And this is where things do get interesting. We look here at the PlayStation 5 itself, the VR2, all that is getting a discount. So first of all, there's a 13% discount on the PSVR 2 Call of the Mountain bundle going down to $350. The PS5 Pro console is going from $700 to $650. And then we get even more interesting here. Xbox and PlayStation are teaming up to sell PlayStation consoles. They're getting a Call of Duty bundle here. So the bundle for this thing, for the Call of Duty standard PS5 bundle, is going to be $450. That comes with like the disc drive and everything. The Call of Duty digital bundle here for the PS5 digital is going to be $400. Now those prices don't really change, but it is coming here with Call of Duty. So interesting stuff there, but not surprising, especially with everything that happened with the ABK acquisition. And then they had to sign and do concessions with this stuff. And the fact that Call of Duty with Black Ops 6, I think this was the last game that was moving away from marketing rights on PlayStation. They're getting a bundle here with Call of Duty, which we haven't even seen a real bundle with Xbox for their consoles. And now I wonder going forward next year with the Xbox consoles, since they don't have to really think about those marketing rights and the deal that PlayStation has with Call of Duty anymore, because Xbox did say that they were going to continue to honor that. Will they come out strong at the launch of Call of Duty and try to sell it with the next upcoming Call of Duty game to push more of the consoles that way? If they don't do that, that will be kind of funny to see, because I think it is a no-brainer. You take Call of Duty, you plaster it all over the Xbox boxes going forward, and people will walk in and pick those up. It will sell and push consoles. As a game that does do that, especially when you can advertise things like up to 120 FPS on something like the Xbox Series S. Something I've talked about here before, but as of right now, looks like it's going to be the last one, unless more deals do end up happening where they decide to push PS5 consoles here with Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Who knows? But some interesting stuff there with the consoles. They're reducing the price of the PS5 Pro. What else is funny about that is you had people on Twitter and stuff saying go buy a PS5 Pro right now before they raise the prices for the PlayStation 5 Pro. And this was after Xbox had raised their prices. And it looks like those people kind of struck out because now there's a $50 savings on the PlayStation 5 Pro. This is for days of play only, though. So when days of play does end, I wonder if that changes. And after this, they will raise the prices like everybody else out there. Who knows? But as of right now, good for them for actually dropping the price of the PS5 Pro. Now, we also have some information here that I think this needs to happen. And if it does happen, I will be very happy about this. This is something that I was hoping that they would do more of. And again, this could just be rumors because all of this stuff has not been confirmed. And we really haven't seen very much evidence of them actually wanting to do this. And this has to do with backwards compatibility. And the backwards compatibility that will actually upgrade PS3, PS2, and PS1 games. This is according to a new report. And the report comes from Moore's Law is Dead, who's had reliable sources in the past, but has also gotten stuff wrong. Particularly, he was, I think, one of the people that pushed the RDNA 3 thing on the PlayStation 5, which was kind of funny. But it says here, as many PS5 Pro owners will know, PSSR, PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, is a specific type of upscaling technology Sony designed specifically for the PS5 Pro. And right now, in its current form, PSSR on PS5 Pro requires a base resolution of 864p, which means it does not work with games that have a base resolution of 720p or lower, which would be many PS3, PS2, PS1, and PSP games. But now these games are upscaled on PS5 Pro using more traditional methods, but not via PSSR, which is the superior method. All that said, according to Moore's Law, is that Sony is preparing an update for the PS5 Pro PSSR that will allow it to upscale these lower resolution games, which in turn means PS3, PS2, PS1, and PSP games will look and run better on the PS5 Pro, at least in theory. Again, take this with a grain of salt. Nothing here has been confirmed. But to me, if you're PlayStation, especially right now, with just the lack of first-party games output on their side, it is pretty dry overall. And they're canceling games as a service games. We have another debacle here with Marathon. You release this update, you do a whole thing about it. You have a PlayStation showcase that shows games that are coming out and showing this feature here. This will bring some life right now to PlayStation in terms of excitement about the future of releases, of what their console is going to be doing for people, because there are so many good PS3 games, PS2 games, and PS1 games. If we can get some nice upgraded versions of these games, similar to what we've seen Xbox do with their backwards compatibility, this potentially will push more people to just go pick up a PlayStation 5 Pro so that they can experience this. And then I would assume as well, going forward to the PlayStation 6, it would carry over there, and then you could have full backwards compatibility across all of the generations. I really hope this is happening, something I've been wanting them to do for a while, on top of bringing back older IPs, such as like Infamous. I would love to see that game come back. Hopefully this is a step in that direction. And then finally, the handheld wars in gaming is going to be next generation. You're going to have the PC handhelds, you're going to have the Xbox handhelds, you're going to have the PlayStation handhelds, you're going to have the Nintendo Switch 2. And it looks like we have some more information here about the next upcoming PlayStation handheld, which will reportedly use Samsung's 2nm process-based chip. This here comes via this person here, Dukin Lost Reeve. I don't know if I said that correctly at all, but this is what they do put out here. Exclusive on the PlayStation handheld, Sony is currently evaluating a new lower powered gaming SoC project internally referred to as Jupiter, and the chip is expected to be developed by AMD and fabricated using Samsung's Foundry's SF2P node, with mass production targeted for post 2028. The deal hasn't been finalized yet. It is still under review between Sony, Samsung, and AMD. And this is the source, they say their own. So again, take this with a grain of salt. But the reality is, this is what is being said, is being reported here by IGN as well. And I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised about this. We heard about that deal with the Nintendo Switch and Samsung, and the deal that they made to produce the Nintendo Switch 2 and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if more people do go over here to Samsung. But 2028, that is now going to be 3 years away. And I wonder if this means that they're going to have a staggered release here between PlayStation 6 and the handheld itself. Although they'll release the PS6 potentially in 2027, then they'll release the handheld a year later. That also brings into question as to when Xbox is going to release their handheld. Are they going to have a jump on them by about a year to get that out there before PlayStation? It is very interesting that we're kind of going back here to handhelds. If you remember back in the day where there was like the Nintendo DS, 3DS, the PSP, and the PS Vita, kind of is reminding me of that. The obvious big difference now with the handhelds is that there's just one version of games. You're getting the same game no matter where you're playing. You're not having handheld versions of games that are actually different than the console versions, which I kind of actually liked. But it is still pretty exciting that we're moving back to having handhelds be a main player here, which I think is going to be the bigger players here over the at-home consoles by a large margin going into the next generation. If PlayStation and Xbox release an at-home console and a handheld, I would be shocked if the at-home console sold more than the actual handhelds themselves. And then you have the players like Steam with SteamOS that are doing big things in that space too. So very interesting times, very excited. I wonder if we will hear anything about the Xbox handheld at the Xbox Showcase. I kind of hope that we do, or they at least talk about it, maybe show off an operating system that will be in it. That would be a ton of fun. But I'm going to end the video there. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.